All right. All right. Test, test, test. We should be live. All right. So we should be live now, everyone. We've got what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be reacting to Rob Manfred's press conference about the MLB canceling its first two series, and then I also have Max Scherzer, Andrew Miller, and the MLBPA their press conference. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Let's get a couple people in the chat, and I'll send this link out to everyone, and we'll get started. So we're going to first be looking at Rob Manfred, since he is the guy who controls the MLB, the commissioner. So we will be starting very shortly. So we're gonna... This is also something new. We've never done MLB content before, so let me know if you like it. I'm curious to see how it will do on the channel. But I'm only gonna send it to a few people. This is something that I really am interested in. So even if it doesn't get a lot of views, it's all good. So let's get started with it.
Conference, in which I am going to cancel some regular season games. We worked hard to avoid an outcome that's bad for our fans, bad for our players, and bad for our clubs. I want to assure our fans.
I just want to say something real quick. Sorry for pausing, but whenever he says that he's doing something that's bad, he doesn't want to do something bad for the fans, not reaching an agreement is bad for the fans, no matter what side you are. So I think right now both parties are to blame with this, but with him saying that he doesn't want something with the fans to happen, like something bad, then I think then that's pretty much that's like too much of a politician answer, and I want a direct statement of why we couldn't get a deal done.
That our failure to reach an agreement was not due to a lack of effort by either party. The players came here for 9 days. They worked hard. They tried.
Sorry, Gimble. That's on. So the MLB hasn't released this yet. This is from SNY. I don't know why it sounds awful right now. It's kind of lagging with everything, but this is what we'll have to make do with for right now. Maybe it gets better in the future.
To make a deal, and I appreciate their effort. Our committee of club representatives committed to the process. They offered compromise after compromise and hung in past the deadline to make sure that we exhausted every possibility of reaching an agreement before the cancellation of games. So far, the parties have failed to achieve their mutual goal of reaching an agreement.
Okay.
The unfortunate thing, maybe the most unfortunate thing, is that agreement, the one we've offered to our players, offered huge benefits for our fans and for our players.
Sorry. Add there.
We have listened to the Players Association throughout the process.
Okay.
A primary goal of the Players Association has been to increase pay for younger players. I said in Orlando, and I'll say it again, we agree and share that goal. We offered to raise the minimum salary to $700,000, an
700K is really good, but I wonder how much people are getting $700,000 right there. Like how many players are?
increase of $130,000 from last year. We offered
Wait a second. Let's check the audio out real quick. So we will be starting very shortly. Let's see. Let me see if we do this. Let me mess with this a little bit.
to create an annual bonus pool of $30 million
How does that sound?
for our very best young players. In total, we're offering nearly a 33% raise to almost 2/3 of major league players.
So 33% to 2/3. Are we saying that major league players, are they all MLB players, or are we talking minor league players? You gotta be specific.
And we're adding more than $100 million annually in additional compensation.
Just make sure the sound's sounding good. Let me know how it's sounding, chat.
For this younger player group. The proposal also addressed player and fan concerns about issues like service
Dustin.
time and competition. Baseball would for the first time have a draft lottery.
Ooh, a draft lot. So like the NBA? Sounds the same. Okay. Let me check real quick. You guys get to see how this is done. All done. Test. Test, 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 test. Everything on my end says I should be good. Everything on my end says it's good. So I wonder what the issue is. Test, test, test. Am I running OBS twice? That's so strange. Alright, now should it be good? That's so strange. Alright, what about now? Let me know how it's sounding. Alright, on my end it should be better now. Alright, sorry about that.
Most aggressive lottery in professional sports. Also, for the first time ever, we agreed to an incentive system to encourage clubs to promote top prospects on opening day. We also proposed that the first and second place finishers in Rookie of the Year voting in each league would receive a full year of service, no matter how long they were in the major.
Something with the software. Let's look at OBS real quick. It's all good now? Okay. Let's retry. Let's retry this. It should be good now.
Leagues. The MLBPA asked us to make free agency more robust. For the first time ever, we agreed to eliminate draft pick compensation, a change that the MLBPA has sought for decades. On the competitive balance tax, we offered a significantly larger first-year increase than in the last two agreements, bearing in mind that the competitive balance tax is the only mechanism in our agreement that protects some semblance of a level playing field among the clubs. The international draft would have more fairly allocated talent among the clubs and reduced abuses in some international markets. We also listened to our fans. The expanded playoffs would bring the excitement of meaningful September baseball and postseason baseball.
How's my audio sound?
Fans in
Does it
more
still sound
markets.
robotic?
While we preferred the 14-team format, when the format became a significant obstacle, we listened to the players' concerns and offered a compromise by accepting the 12-team format. Finally, we offered a procedural agreement that would allow for the timely implementation of sorely needed rules like the pitch timer and the elimination of shifts to improve the...
Okay, I wonder what coaches think about that then, and the managers. Because if we think about it, it's been mostly managers who have been preaching the they wanting the shift. So I'm wondering, is it a players thing? Are the players wanting the shift still, or are the owners wanting the shift? Because I know as a fan, I don't like the shift. It takes away the quality of the game, in my opinion, because it's all about analytics. So I wonder why the players are arguing for the shift. Do the players want it? That's something that we'll have to look for in Max Scherzer and Andrew Miller's conference.
The entertainment value of the game on the field. And we agreed to the universal DH.
Green to universal DH, okay. So no more
next?
pitchers hitting.
The calendar dictates that we're not going to be able to play the first two series of the regular season, and those games are officially canceled.
See, so we have two series canceled. So normally the opening is what, 4 games? And then the second one will probably be 2 or 3. So we're looking at possibly like 6 to 8 games being canceled right there for every single MLB team. So I'm wondering, are they just going to have just a really weird year this year? Or is there just not going to be a season in general? Because right now it's looking like neither side is going to budge. And both sides are perfectly okay with not playing baseball games.
We're prepared to continue negotiations. We've been informed that the MLBPA is headed back to New York, meaning that no agreement is possible until at least Thursday.
So we won't get an agreement until Thursday.
As such,
Yeah,
camps
we
could not
definitely need to play
meaningfully
Fortnite.
operate until at least March 8th, leaving only 23 days before the scheduled opening day. The clubs and our owners fully understand just how important it is to our millions of fans that we get the game on the field as soon as possible. To that end, we want a bargain and we want an agreement with the Players Association as quickly as possible.
Bargain. I wonder why you use that word choice. Bargain.
You gonna do them or am I? Okay, Hannah. I got 2. So make the first one. Well, you only get 1.
Okay, so this has been out there a little bit, this phrase, and I just wanted to be super clear. Was this your last, best, and final offer in a legal sense, or are you willing to say you're at impasse?
We never used the phrase last best and final offer with the union. We said to them that it was our best offer prior to the deadline to cancel games. Our negotiations are deadlocked right now, but I'm not going to get into, that's different than using the legal term impasse, and I'm not going to do that.
If it's not your
So it sounds like we're coming close to them just straight out just not coming to an agreement, because I think either way, one of these sides are going to have to say, all right, I'm not doing this no more. We're done. There's going to be no season. That's what it's sounding like.
last bet and final offer, why would they have accepted it? If they knew they could get something better later.
Yeah, look, I think that take it or leave it in a negotiation is not something that I think is usually productive. I think always at the end, there's a little wiggle room somewhere, and I think that we'd like to keep the idea that we're willing to go back to the table and figure out whether we can make an agreement.
Well, I think that's pretty much sums up his conference. Let's look at Max Scherzer's and Andrew Miller's right now. I don't know, are they finished yet? And okay, so it's live right now. We'll start it from the beginning.
To navigate or to negotiate for a fair collective bargaining agreement. Despite meeting daily while here in Florida, there is still work that needs to be done. We are seeking improvements to our CBA because significant improvements are needed. We've made no mistake about that fact over the course of the last 3 or 4 years based on what we've seen on the field and off the field. It's against that backdrop of growing revenues and record profits for owners in the league that players seek and deserve nothing more than fundamental fairness. Players want to play. We all know that. But the reason...
How badly do they want to play? How badly do they want to play? I'm at this point now where I'm this close to questioning how badly they want to play. Because I don't know, if you really wanted to play, then you would say, listen, let's have these talks during the season. We should have been having these talks in December and January, not where we're about to start spring training soon, to where we need to cancel opening day. We should have been having these talks earlier, but no, there was nothing happening, no movement on either side.
we're not playing is simple. A lockout...
What do you say?
But the reason we're not playing is simple.
Okay.
A lockout is the ultimate economic weapon.
Uh-huh.
Let me repeat that. A lockout is the ultimate economic weapon. In a $10 billion industry, the owners have made a conscious decision to use this weapon against the greatest asset they have, the players. But the group won't be intimidated.
I don't like that narrative. I don't think that the owners are trying to intimidate the players. That doesn't make sense to me. Why would owners want to be intimidating the people that are making their money? You know? That doesn't. I don't agree with that.
Seen more unity over the last few years than at any time in our recent history. Our guys care deeply about the game, care deeply about the fans, and care deeply about our player fraternity. And they are focused on improving the rights and benefits for today's generation of player and for the generations to come. Needless to say, we remain committed to the bargaining process and getting back on the field as soon as possible.
Okay.
Sylvia, are we opening the floor?
I want to hear what these players have to say.
If you have a question, if you can approach the mic and ask.
To my left, Bruce Meyer with the PA, and Max Scherzer on his left. In regard to the process and what we've seen, the entire process has been an interesting one, to say the least. In a world where you are looking to make changes, make adjustments, make improvements based on what it is you're seeing, you understand that you need as much time as possible to work through those things. It's why we started the process when we did in April. It's why we made the core economic proposals that we did in the first part of May. It's why we remained available, whether on Zoom or as the pandemic afforded us the opportunity to meet in person. We made ourselves available then. It's why we sequestered ourselves in a hotel in Dallas with the hope of working toward an agreement.
You didn't make it.
It's why we stood ready for 6 weeks
We've been working
after
on
the
that
lockout
agreement
on
since
December 1st,
September.
ready to have a discussion. It is remarkably interesting against the backdrop of the things that needed to be worked through to find ourselves on February 28th over the course of the last week in West Palm Beach, working through the issues that, quite honestly, needed to be and could have been and should have been discussed in more depth much earlier than they were.
Let's skip ahead to live, because there doesn't seem like
We've
there's anything
seen
big going on.
exhibition games with NBA players. Are there any plans to do any sort of exhibition games or explore any foreign markets? And also, what are the training plans for the baseball players who are locked out? Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. There's nothing planned in regard to a global tour of exhibitions. As we highlighted earlier,
So there's going to be no baseball.
And back at the table.
No
So that
major
is the
league players
focus.
playing.
But in regard to training, the guys have been training. The guys will continue to train. There will be opportunities, whether as a large group or a small group, to continue to make sure that when the lights do come on, they're ready to go whenever that happens to be. I think at this point, the guys continue to work through the calendar as they normally would, such that the fans can be completely confident.
Yes,
that when
Verona,
the
they
lights
do
come
want
on,
more
the
money.
guys
They
will
want
be
more
ready to
money
go.
for veterans and younger players.
Thank you.
But it's seeming like there's a little more to it, and we're trying to figure out why it is.
Wagner, the New York Times, what's up, everyone? Two questions to follow up on that. Like, what else are you guys doing to, I guess, support players throughout this time? Medical benefits, financially, I mean, the trading, like you're talking about, at however long this might last. If you could just detail what you guys do for everyone.
Thank you, Wax. So in a scenario where players are locked out, it is important to make sure that in all the preparations we've done prior to, and all the things that are going on during the course of that lockout, that as you just referenced, their rights are being protected, and the support that they need is being provided. Sometimes that support is financial. You mentioned
Let's be real, Chad.
benefits and medical.
MLB,
as most.
they're losing their fan base. Let's be real. They've been on a down spiral for the last couple of years. I mean, I'm not worried about missing MLB games. Why? I can watch NBA games. March Madness is coming up. I could watch golf. Hockey's happening. There's other things going on that it's like I can rely on, and I can be like, well, this is good for me to watch. I can have entertainment with this. Baseball, has way too many games, so there's no point in keeping track of things. There's no point for them to have a there's fans of the game, but not fans. There's fans of the sport, but not fans of the games, I guess you could say. They take way too long. They're way too boring at times. There's times with the switch the shift that, why even have it? Why can't we just play normal baseball? Why do we have to have analytical baseball? And you could make an argument, analytics, it helps them. Analytics have a time and a place, and this is not the time nor the place for analytics. Analytics should be used for batting averages, pitching stats, knowing stats on them. Not they have a higher chance of hitting here, so let's move the people over there. That way that we can get that out, you know? Evan says that he thinks the MLB started losing viewership when they got into politics. Well, I think sports in general have lost viewership from going into politics because sports are supposed to be an escape, and yet whenever issues in the country get brought into sports, it's like there is no escape. So I don't know if it was just the MLB. I think the MLB really started to lose fans after their 1999 lockout, which you could talk to anybody over who was into baseball during that time. It was a major middle finger towards the fans of baseball, and it feels like it's happening again. Like, this is the 1999 lockout right here. It seems as if the players don't care about playing. They're in no rush. The owners don't care. They're in no rush. Somebody on one side is going to have to fold. Ultimately. There's no way that they can both come to a happy agreement and both of them can say, yeah, we won this agreement. Somebody's going to have to say, I got screwed, but who cares? We're playing baseball. And somebody's going to have to say, this is a great deal for us, stood strong the entire time. Now, we shouldn't do another thing where we're like, okay, let's come to the same agreement this season and then just push off to next year. We did that last year. We're not doing that again. We need to come to a decision and then have the CBA normal. Excuse me. Skyler says that we need a season. We need a season. I mean, yes, we do need a season, but, like, let's be real. They're not going to get viewership. They're not. ESPN's not going to give them views. With March Madness coming up, which, if you guys want March Madness content, let me know. Definitely, I'm looking forward to doing a bracket or something. Having, like, a bracket tournament. If you want to, we're going to have, the Masters are coming. Combine is coming. The draft talk. Free agency talk. I mean, the NBA games are going on. We just had the trade deadline. It's a stretch to the playoffs. There's going to be the play-in. Then we're going to have the NBA playoffs. I mean, you have hockey going on. 100% you want to see March Madness stuff. I'm really excited for March Madness this year. Really am. And I think I'll do some March Madness stuff. I'll probably have like a bracket tourney or something, like whoever picks the most games, right? Combine for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna release my official YouTube mock draft after the combine. I do plan on watching the combine, but we're back to baseball. I mean, baseball is at a point right now where it's competing with things that it shouldn't be competing with. It shouldn't be having to compete with college basketball. It shouldn't have to be competing with the NHL at all. Baseball, you tell somebody 30 years ago that baseball is struggling, they won't believe you. I don't know. They would not believe you at all. But now, you look at what sports fans are wanting. They're not going to sit down for 4 hours and watch baseball. You know, it's the same. It's not as exciting as other sports where you have basketball every time you go down the court you're going to score, and if you don't, it could be big. We don't have any more walk-off home runs and stuff like that. Skyler says, Franco, Vlad Jr., Otani, Tatis, Acuna, Alonso, so many big young stars that will bring in viewership. Most star-studded the MLB has been some Sosa, McGuire. But I think for those people, so many people to be interested in the game of baseball, that we need more people to have more interest in the games. And I think one of the first things you do, we have to make the game shorter. And we need some of the things I like from I've seen proposed is we have a pitch clock to like 20 seconds. We get 20 seconds to pitch. I've seen some pitchers, they take almost a minute to pitch one ball. a minute every single pitch. That is way too much. So I don't know how you would enforce that. What happens if you run past the pitch clock? I'm not the person deciding it, but it's something I would like to see and see how it would work. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Then we can get rid of it and find out. I think we need to shorten the season. The season needs to be shortened, maybe like 82 games. I've seen that thrown around. I had an ESPN article pulled up. And it's talking about how the MLB is canceling the first 2 games. So basically, it goes into detail how it cancels it. Manfred, my deepest hope is that we get an agreement quickly. Well, we all want an agreement quickly. So I think it's a little bit of hypocrite talk. I don't know. I don't understand why we can't just play baseball. We have to worry about all this money. I mean, it's getting petty at this point. And it seemed as if that there was not going to be an agreement reached anytime soon. I can't see an agreement at all. Quite frankly, I think the season's over with. And now players are calling for Manfred to get fired as Marcus Stroman, the Cubs pitcher. It's just a big blow to the MLB. Like spring training, nobody really cares about. But I think losing opening day, that's going to be a big thing. I think losing opening day is probably going to be one of the bigger things. It's sad to see, quite honestly. Like this, I think we're witnessing the death of the MLB. Like, tell me if I'm wrong, chat, but I think we're witnessing the death of the MLB. Quite frankly, there's not a craze to it. It's not America's pastime anymore. It's dying. It's dying. And sure, that's sad. But and for the past couple of years, it's been the same. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. So with that being said, I'm going to log off. Thank you everybody for joining the live stream. Really do, it helps me out a lot. We will be doing some Combine stuff. Looking forward to some March Madness. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you share this with everyone. Like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. That way you never miss a video.